I think the recorded class video could be useful for you to review, and I will upload all the videos. And I uploaded several, but haven't done it completely, and I will do it definitely in the within this week to upload what we had so far. Okay. So let me share my screen. So in today's class, let's look at dictionary. So dictionary is another so-called collection. So we have learned a list. So basically, in list, it's like you have a structure, and each of a cell you just put something, and keep that stuff in that cell. So that's a list. So actually, there are other type of such collections. Basically, um, in today's class, let's talk about the dictionary. So as I mentioned in last class, the this let me use a pen. This kind of a collection is very useful because you can collect a bunch of values instead of a single one, right? Also, you can make sense of these values based on your needs. So for the list, it's like you go to a supermarket and you have a basket, and for those stuff you really want, you put it into this basket. Yeah, but in a certain order, right? It's not a random placed stuffs. Instead, it has orders from the first one to the last one. It has all the index associated with it. That's the list. And also, you can always use the in operator to tell you whether there's some variable in this structure, in the list or not, right? So as I mentioned, today let's look at um, the dictionary. Again, this represents the single variable, which is the most commonly used variables, the way we use variable. But in a collection, that's a little different. So for a list, basically it's like a linear collection of values that's in order. If we take this fringes uh, as an example, each of the chips will put one by one and in this ordered way. If you imagine how it looked like inside this box, it's something like this, right? It's one by one, perfectly ordered. But dictionary is more like a bag of values, each with its own label. It's just like this figure, right? You have a bag and you have a lot of different things, and each of them has a label associated with it. So here shows some label: calculator, perfume, candies, money, and tissues. And each of the item will have uh, a label associated with that value. So that's the idea of dictionary. So there are two things a dictionary has. One is such kind of labels, right? Another thing is the actual value. So these labels will make sense of the values. So it's not, for example, you have a value 5, but you associate with this 5 with, okay, tissue means, okay, there are 5 tissues. So this 5 is not just a number, a value. Instead, you will immediately know that is associated with tissue, right? So that's the difference between dictionary and the list. There are a pair of values. One is the so-called key. Another one is called value, and I will introduce them in details. So let's look at a typical usage of dictionary. So first of all, dictionary has no order, right? You can just imagine it. It's a bag. Usually you won't pack your bag in an order, right? Basically, you just put things and make sure this bag is good, large enough to contain all the stuffs. But you usually do not put order to those stuff when you put it in the bag. Instead of using the index to access the things in dictionary, we use the so-called lookup tag to obtain the stuff in this dictionary. For example, we define a dictionary purse, right? And these lines actually it's a new it's a newly create an entry to this dictionary, to this purse dictionary, and assign a value to each of the key. So this money actually serves as the key, and these numbers, I mean, money, candy, and tissues, these are keys, and 12, 3, 75, these are the values. So once you create these keys and assign value to these keys, it turns out you will have something like this. You have a key money associated with value 12, a key tissues, which is associated with the value 75, and another key candy with 3 as the associated value. So basically this is a typical dictionary look like. So again, two part. First of is key, and the second is the value. And also for this dictionary, it uses the curly braces instead of the square braces, right? I mean, square bracket. So that's the that's how a dictionary look like. Then once you have a dictionary and with certain keys and values created, you can access that value by using the key. Basically, what you just do is, okay, I want to increase the number of candies. Currently there are 3, but I put another 2 there. So I just want to update the count of candies. What you should do. So it's similar as you use list, but the number the instead of putting index here, sorry, you just put the key in this dictionary inside this square bracket. So for the list, you are putting index, which are integer number from 0 to some number, which is the -1 of the total count of the list. I mean, the stuff, the values started in the list. But in this dictionary case, what you want to do is just to put the key here. It will access the value of the key, sorry, associated with the key. In this case, now it's 3, right? And you have you want to increase by 2. It turns out the right hand side is 5, and you assign the 5 to this candy key again, and it turns out if you print it out, you will see, okay, the value associated with candy is 5. So that's how this dictionary work. It's just like you are looking up tags in a dictionary, right? Find the tag and then you can access that words in a dictionary, right? So um, so let's do a little comparison of list and a dictionary. So the right hand side we have the left hand side we have a definition of list, and also we how we create add values to that list. So we first create a new list without anything, and then use the append function to add 21 and 183 to this list. And turns out you have this value, you have two values in there. And um, when you want to change some of the value, you can use the index and this square bracket system to change the value with the index 0. In this case, originally the value for with index 0 is 21, and you change it to 23, right? And after the change, you can see it is indeed modified. But for a dictionary, first new a empty dictionary, and you just create two keys and assign two values to each of the key. All right, and if you print it, sorry, that there's a phone interruption. Let me mute it. All right, so so basically you have this kind of dictionary. Um, Also, you can change the value for associated with some key, and again use the key directly with this dictionary. I mean, it's very similar to what list does, but the only thing is you do not put index here. Instead, you just put a key over here. So basically, you want to change the value associated with age, right? And change it to 23. And as you can see, you just um, you just change it. So as a result, if you look at the result, right? The good thing for a dictionary is it contains more information. For here, for the list, you just have two numbers, but two values. So what are they, right? You don't know. But for this dictionary, well, you have keys and also the values. So you will know, oh, okay, probably that it is related to something about a course. And that could be the course code. I don't know. Yeah, that could be the case. And also another key, age. Okay, that's about age, someone's age. And its value is 23. So you have these actual information, and this information is associated with a value. You can easily access each of these values by using these keys. So that's how a dictionary is used for Python programming. And what's the benefit here? So basically here shows you what it look like if you have a list and a dictionary, right? It's like you can consider its index is also a key, right? But that key just but this kind of key just integer numbers, and it is ordered from starting from 0 to 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 the number which is -1 of the total count of the elements in a list. But dictionary, there's no restriction. You can put any kind of values as a key, and also they are not necessarily to be a ordered keys. So if you understand the difference between list and a dictionary, you can think of this way, right? Just consider these index of list to be the integer keys, the integer ordered keys, ordered integer keys. All right. But if you don't want to understand it in this way, that's also fine. Just to remember for the list, you have you just have indexes which are in order, right? But dictionary, no, they are not ordered, and you can use any kind of strings over here as a key. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple questions.
Yeah, sure.
Is there any way to remove an entry from the dictionary?
I think so. I'm not sure what's the function is, but definitely that's possible to remove. I can check it because I never remove an entry for a dictionary, but I think probably dot use the remove could do that work. I will get back to you.
Because I see dictionaries being useful in like, I don't know,
Yeah.
if you're creating like a system for
Yeah.
like a store or whatever
Yeah.
where you have items
Yeah.
and the prices. So if you no longer stock the item, it might be useful to delete it. The other question I have is, can you compile this into one line? Because right now you assign an empty dictionary and you add things to it. Can you create a dictionary
Yes, of
in
course.
the same line, add like have things assigned to it by, like in the same line?
Yeah, yes, of course. Yes, of course. Actually, that's actually, I will show you. Just basically, you can just let that dictionary to be assigned to that variable. Let's say you have a dictionary DDD, and you can maybe I can write it for you. Oh, sorry about it. So you can just simply like oh, DDD and chorus and like age.
That's a colon?
Yeah, that's a comma.
A colon after course.
No. Yeah, it's a colon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just like this. Just like this.
So
And a
if you
21.
do that, you assign it as you're assigning, well,
Yeah, basically you just create a little instant of a dictionary and assign it to a verb.
it's still just a variable, but then you have to still do DDD equals dict, right? Like you have to.
No, you don't have to.
Okay, so you
need
don't
this.
even have to put dictionary if you do
No,
it in this.
if you do this, basically what you these 3 lines are not necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think what these lines actually shows you is, okay, imagine you haven't decided what kind of a dictionary you want to create. You can just create an empty one. And then you can decide, okay, I need this key and assign a value like this, and another key, assign value like that. Actually, that's the case for some of the examples in the following slides. I will show you why you want to create an empty one for some instance. But definitely what I wrote here and what you suggest is feasible, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's a so-called dictionary literals, meaning, see, that's what exactly you are asking for. So you are creating a new dictionary called JJJ, and you have these 3 Chuck, Fred, Jane with some values there, and assign it to a new variable JJJ. Yeah, that's what it is. Or you could just use this to create an empty dictionary, and basically with this curly bracket, I mean curly braces without putting any key and values, and Python will automatically consider this OOO is an empty dictionary without anything there. But definitely using create an empty dictionary is useful. Why? Let me show you some example. For example, you have a file with these names, right? These are names, right? And you want to find out which one is the commonly appears names. So what you want to do is basically you can use a dictionary, and these names will be the key, and its count will be the value associated with each of the key. So for example, the key will be the marquard, and the marquard will be assigned with with a value for this. In this specific example, it has three. It appears 3 times. You can assign its value to be 3, right? And so on and so forth. You can create a dictionary with all these names as the key, and the count of these names appears in all the document as the value associated with the key. So so as you can as I mentioned, so the names as the key and the count as a value, right? And you can create a new dictionary and assign and create new keys and assign values to it. Also, you could update the values by add 1 to some of the values associated with certain key, and you can change it, update it. Basically, this line could be used when you scan the whole file and find a new instance of the name associated with an existing key, and you can update the value with that key, right? But there could be some error. Let's say you have a new dictionary like this, and you haven't create any key with it. Instead, you directly use access the value associated with that key. So it turns out we'll return the error. So that is the commonly happens error cases. So you cannot access that value before you create the key and assign a value associated with that key. So that could be an error if you work with dictionary, right? So if you still remember what we read file and use the split function, well, let's imagine we have a file contains several names. And what you want to do is you read the file and use a split function. And it turns out you will convert the whole file or a line of file to a list with a string as each of the element in this list, right? Just imagine you have read the file and split it. Now you have an array, I mean a list called names, and you have all these strings as an element of names. And you want to count for each of a name how many times it appears. And what you want to do is create a dictionary. And now, basically the name of this dictionary is counts, right? And now it's empty dictionary. There's nothing inside the count. And then you start a for loop. So in this for loop, you want to do this conditional statement. That is, you want to check if the name has been basically you want to check these names whether this name has been created as a key in the dictionary or not. So for example, when first time you ran this for loop and there's nothing in it, definitely it will this will be true, and you will create a new key, and the key is the current name, and assign a value here because there's nothing, and you just find one, so its count is 1. For example, if let's maybe go through this list. For example, beginning at the beginning of this for loop, and once first time it goes here, and currently the name is this CSEV, right? As CSEV is if this CSEV not in counts, it is true, right? Because count currently is an empty dictionary. So you go to this line and use this CSEV as the key and assign a value 1 here because it appears once, right? First time. Of course, this these lines under else will be skipped and print the counts. No, that's only the first time you run the for loop, and then go to here, and now names become Steven, right? Steven, and whether Steven is in counts or not, no. So again, go to here and create a key named Steven, and of course, because it appears only the first time, so its count is 1, and else will be skipped, and go back to this for loop again, and this time again there's a name CSEV because this name is already in counts, so this branch will be skipped. Actually, you will go to the line under else, and here basically this line will add 1 to current count associated with the key, because the key is CSEV. Basically, you just add 1 to the value associated with CSEV, and it becomes 2, right? And then go to the beginning of for loop, and you have this name. It's not in the counts. Go to this line and assign 1 to this key, and then continue to this for loop, and now it becomes C1, right? And it turns out you already have C1 in the dictionary as a key, and go to this line and add 1 to the value associated with C1. And then go here, okay, there's nothing left in the names, then go to the last line and print all the elements, everything in this counts. And turns out you will have this result, a CSEV with a count 2, and this Z chain with count 1, and C1 with count 2. That's how you scan the whole list and do this statistic using a dictionary. So this dictionary, because it contains both the key and the value, so that makes this statistic count names, how many names appear, make this task much easier. So that's why you want to start a new dictionary without anything inside. All right. So any question? All right. So far so good, right? So there's another way to realize this. So here we have this check, right? Basically, you have this if-else system because you want to make sure if the name has not been added to this dictionary, you just create a new entry with this key and assign a value to this key. Else, you just update it by adding 1 to the value associated with this name as a key. But there's a simpler way to achieve this. That is the get method. So there's a function get, which is a member function, which is a function for a dictionary. So what it does is, well, if you look at this line, const dot get name, comma 0. So what it does is it will try to get the value associated with this name as the key. If there is a key name, it will return the value associated with this name. Otherwise means there's nothing, there's no such key. You just create a key and assign 0 to that key. So you can just use this single line to replace this. So it these two blocks does the same thing. So these 4 lines does the same thing as this line does. So that is if the name is already there, has been already created in const, you just return it. Otherwise, you just assign it to value to zero. That's the default value, and create a new key over here. All right, that's how the get function does. So if we use this get function to do the same task as previously here does, we can simply use get 1 line. That is, if the name, basically again a for loop, right? Starting with the for loop, and first CSEV and check. Okay, whether basically this get function will get the value associated with CSEV because there's nothing. There's no such key in const. So it will return this value. So what you set here is the value it will return if this name is not there in this dictionary. So it returns 0 here. And because that is 0, right? You add 1, and at the same time you create a new key which using name in this case is CSEV, and assign 0 plus 1 to this const. Because you have encountered the first CSEV, so you create a new key in const, and its value to be 0 plus 1. And it turns out it's 1. That means, okay, you create a new key and assign 1 to that new key, right? Makes sense, right? Any questions? Okay. All right, then continue this for loop. And now the name is C1, right? Again, C1 has not been created in const. And this will return 0 again. 0 plus 1, it's 1. And here creates the new create a new key with C1 as a key and assigned to be 1. So both of the two are the first time appearing, right? And let's see if you second time, third time, go to this for loop, go inside this for loop. In this case, okay, this get will return the value associated with CSEV because this has been created. So its value now is 1, and you just, because you have encountered this the second time, so 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 will be assigned to the value associated with this CSEV key. And turns out count CSEV will be 2. So same thing happens to Z chain and CW, and turns out it will have the exact same result as we previously see. And the only thing changed is we use this get and assign a default value to be 0 in this case. And it does the same thing as what this if-else system does. So that is very convenient function method, get method, to use in many applications. So any questions so far? So if we look at maybe more complex question. So let's say you have this kind of this block of text, and you want to count each of the word appearing in this block of text. And what you want to know is what are the words and what are the counts associated with that word. So for this task, the dictionary is the most simple way to use. All right. So we can start from a simpler example instead of go directly to this very complex one. Let's say you want the user to input some text, and you want to count the words of that text. So again, as I mentioned, you just want to use this dictionary, right? And ask the user to input a word and split the input dictionary input string into a list with each of a word to be one string element in that list. And then you can print what it looked like before the count, right? And then you use this for loop, you just scan through the list, loop through the list, and utilize this get method to find out what is the count for each of the word. And it turns out you will find how many counts for each of the word appearing in the line input by the users. All right, it looks so simple, right? Basically, what you do is just generate a list of strings. I mean, first input the line from the user, and generate the list using the split function, and loop through that list, and use the get method of the dictionary, and that's it. So for example, if you input this line, the clown ran after the car, and the car ran into the tent, and the tent fell down on the clown, and the car. Uh, some random words, right? Some random sentence. So it turns out you will have, if you read this in and use a split, you will have each of the word to be one string in this words list, right? And then utilize this for loop as well as the get method. You can have this kind of statistic. You have three and, one on, two ran, three car, one into, and so on and so forth. All these are obtained just through two simple line of code. All right, that's the word count for this simple case. So another very commonly happened case is the combination of definite loops and a dictionary. So for even the dictionary are not stored in order, we can always write a for loop that will go through all the entries inside a dictionary. For example, you can just simply use a for loop, and basically the count is the dictionary, and you can access each. You can loop through the keys, and it will access each of the key and throughout the whole dictionary. And using this key, you can access its associated values and do something with it. In this simple case, it just print it out. It print the key and also the value associated with the key inside this counts dictionary, right? If you have a dictionary like this, turns out you will have a printed result like this. Also, you can get a list of keys values or both of them from the dictionary. For example, this JJJ is a dictionary, and if you use the list, right? If you create a list, use this dictionary and print it out, what you have is you have all these keys printed. So it only retrieve the keys instead of the values. So you can see the result shows only these keys are printed. Or you can retrieve the keys, which these two does the same thing, right? Also, if you just want to have the values, means 1, 42, and 100, you can use these values function. It will retrieve only values of each of the entry, right? Or you want to print both of them, basically utilize the items function. It returns the key and its associated with associated value and print it out in this line. So we can also loop through this kind of dictionary using two iteration variables in a for loop, right? So what it does is, okay, you have, let's say you have dictionary with three pair of key and values, right? Chalk with value 1, Fred with value 42, Jane with value 100, And there are two iteration variables. One is this AAA will be used to get the keys, and BBB is used to get the value associated with the key. And here, you need to notice here, basically it's not in J anymore, it's J dot items. So you have to put J dot items to access the items, which means both the key and the values. By doing so, this AAA will be stored as the key, and BBB will retrieve the values associated with the key. And it turns out you will have the printed result like this. So you have only have one loop, but two iteration variables, and access two. The both of the key and also the values of this key value pairs. That's also that could be useful in some of the applications when you want to retrieve both key and items using a for loop. So again, if we look at an example, sorry, you can input a file and open it to the file handle, right? Basically, the file handle will be the interface between our own program and also the document. It contains everything from the file. So we define a new dictionary and start a loop. So this loop will read each line of inside of the file, because we have already the handle. We have this handle contains everything in the file, right? So we just loop through this handle, and the line will be each of the line of this this handle. First of all, you just use the split function to convert the line to a list with every word to be one element in this list. So the words will be a list of word, right? And then you have a nested for loop to loop through this word list. And simply use this get method, right? You can easily get the word count for each of the word appears in that specific line, because you have two level of for loop. The first level will read one line, and the second level will count the word count for each of the line by going through this two level of for loop. You will get the word count of the whole file, right? Just scan line by line, get the first line's word count, second lines, so on and so forth, until it reaches the end of the file, right? All right, that is what this does. Or you could use such kind of, once you have this dictionary created and look through all the lines of the file, you can obtain the result by going through this two iteration variable for loop. So what you want to do is you have two iteration variable word and count. And again, using the items function of this dictionary, and check, okay, what is the key and what is the value for each of the entry inside the counts dictionary. And also you set up a if statement. That is, you want to find out which word is the most frequently used one in the file. And because so this line, if you still remember when we talk about the if statement, so these if statement realized a comparison whether the current word is the one with the maximum count. If not, you just update this big word using current word and update the big count with current count. And after going through all the items in the counts, you will have the word with the maximum count, and you can print it out. Any question here? All right. I think if you it's a little while ago we talk about this way to get the maximum. But if you do not remember it, you can go back to the previous lectures. I think it is in the if statement section, and that's the way you figure out what is the biggest number. And because this biggest number is associated with a key, which is a word, you can keep the words again, also use this big word variable. And it turns out you have the word with maximum appearing in the whole file, and how many times it appears. Right. So this is the whole story. If you have a any kind of document, text file, you want to have a statistic with word count. All right, I think let's summarize this class. So basically, we talk about some idea about collections. Both list and the dictionaries are collections, right? And so in this class, we focus on the dictionary, but in previous one, we've already talked about the list. So what are the difference between the two, right? List has an order, and it's like a linear stored interest. And the dictionary is like a bag. Basically, you put things not in order, but there are tag associated with each of the things in that bag, in that dictionary. So how you define a dictionary and also add items to that dictionary. So there are some examples you can practice. And the most important thing here is the get method, which is very concise, very simple and useful, a concise way to check whether that key is there. Otherwise, create a new key, and assign the value there. If there is the key, just add one. Basically, that is very useful to do some statistic when reading a file or some text. So also another dictionary loops. So I think that's all for today's lecture. It's a little earlier, but I will stay here and answer your questions until the end of this class. So again, I will announce the project on Thursday's lab session. Also, after that, I will give you some practice, not only the dictionary, but also how you could debug some error cases when you write code. I think that's essential for you to do a independent project. So I think that's all. Yep.
Thank you, Professor. See you on Thursday.
See you.